kids. Fuck the kids? Yeah.
When I say, who's the master? You say,
What is up, guys? Shownuff the King here, back with another toy review, and today I'll be doing my review for the S.H.MonsterArts Godzilla vs. Kong MechaGodzilla and the Monsterverse Battle MechaGodzilla done by Playmates. This is another versus review, and again, I know before you even say anything, this is like David versus Goliath, but I will be comparing more than just the look. The price will matter a lot, especially when this MechaGodzilla cost me about $120 versus like 10 to 15. I think about $20 or so for the MechaGodzilla that I have over here. So we're going to get these things opened up. We're going to review each one individually, and then we'll do a comparison together. All right, but first things first, let's go ahead and look at this Godzilla versus Kong. Again, as you can see here on the box, this box art is very nice. We have stuff on the side, and then on the back, we just have some of the poses. And again, I do have Godzilla and Kong, so I will be bringing those into the review as well, so no worries. All right, nothing on the side. And here we have the Playmates Kong. I got this from a Walmart. As you can see here, the box looks smaller, but that's because they took his tail off. So they're both on a 6-inch scale, so they should scale together decently. Now, there was also a Kong and a Godzilla version like this that came with little army men. Looks like this one comes with a piece of a broken building and a flame effect. So, bonus. All right, and then you can see here on the back the other figures, and you can collect them all. Let's get these things open. All right, so we have MechaGodzilla out of the packaging for those who like to see what it looks like while it's in the packaging. And as you can see, this thing is very imposing. It is bigger than Kong and Godzilla as he was in the movie. So that is pretty much in scale, which is nice. And just for, you know, shits and giggles, I'll go ahead and I'll bring in the other MechaGodzilla that already combined. And again, to be fair, it's not really fair to do a versus per se for this, because again, this thing again was probably like a $10 to $15 toy, whereas this one is like a $120 toy. It is like a night and day difference. You can tell that in the cost alone. But again, just for comparison's sake, I wanted to make sure that I included it in here. It's worth being on the table, but again, as a figure itself, there really is no comparison, and I'll explain why as the review goes on, but I just wanted to kind of at least bring him in to show you guys what he looks like. So there. All right, let's finish getting him unboxed. All right, guys, so we have MechaGodzilla out of the packaging, and I want to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about what I like, but then I'm going to also talk about what I don't like. And unfortunately, there's going to be quite a bit that I don't like about this figure. And again, this is no hate to S.H.MonsterArts, but I do believe for a premium price figure in 2022 that we deserve better, especially when you're paying this amount of money and price point. But we'll get there in due time. Just make sure you guys stick with me. Let's talk about it. All right, so first things first. My figure actually ended up coming damaged. It's a huge deal based off how much I paid for this, because again, this is over $150 once you add in like shipping. Like, this is not a cheap toy. So when I ordered it and it came in, as you can see here, these pistons are meant to move. So they have like these little individual pistons that are tied into the undercarriage here, as you can see here. When mine was, and when it's in the packaging, it's encased here, and there's a little plastic piece in between here that keeps this thing in place. But for some reason, it ended up breaking anyway. And as you can see here, the piston is in on this part, but it's actually broken on this part. And you can actually see, I'll bring it close. You can see that the piston broke off. And when you actually look at the actual instructions, you can see clear as day that it says, be careful for rubbing off, but it doesn't really mention anything about breakage. But again, to me, that's on, I don't necessarily blame the company that shipped it, because again, it probably just got damaged in shipping. But for a company to create a premium figure like this and not think about these little things when you're adding this in, that these things can bend, these things can move, people are going to want to pose these things around, that to me is just unacceptable from S.H. Monster Arts, hands down. Now, I was able to go ahead and get that taken care of, but again, I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned it in the review. Now, the price point, like I said, this thing is very expensive, so it's not for the faint at heart, but there is a reason for it, because it is made mostly of die cast and plastics. So again, it looks like from the feel of it, the legs, the joints, this whole thing is mostly made of die cast. I think there are probably a few pieces here or there that might be made of plastic, but for the most part, this thing is made of pure die cast. But and it looks amazing. Like I don't want to get it twisted at all. Like from a look perspective, this thing looks amazing. Like it feels like a premium toy. Again, I still have a lot of issues, but that mostly just stems with the laziness of the company and less on an attention to detail from what they had in the movie. Now, like I said before, this is a comparison video, so I want to bring in the cheaper priced one so we can take a look at them side by side. And again, just know that I understand that this is like a $10 to $15 figure next to like $150 figure, but I figured I'd show you guys them all at the same time. So here's a front shot. Here is a side profile. Here is a back shot, as you can see here, and again another side profile. Now let's get this out of the way. So this is the main issue that I had with this, is that the color itself does not match. The beam effect does not match, because as you can see here, this is movie accurate for the dorsal fins. The dorsal fins only had the little red things on the tips, whereas this entire dorsal fin is painted. So even in the movie, when he uses his atomic breath, his whole entire back doesn't turn red. It still just stays on the platelets, the dorsal tips. Again, the tails are similar, as you can see here. They're similar. The size is actually not bad. Like obviously the die-cast metal one is bigger. It stands taller, but yeah, it's not bad from a size perspective. Obviously, MechaGodzilla should be bigger, because he's actually bigger than Kong and Godzilla. But yeah, and this one actually, the Playmates one also comes with battle damage, so you can just kind of take this platelet off. Like I think in the beginning, and I'll explain that next. I think I explained in the beginning that this was like a piece of a building. No, this is actually a battle damage thing where you can kind of reveal the chest. But again, it's kind of lackluster, because it's just painted the same base color. So you take it off, but does it really look like battle damage? And you would think that this is actual battle damage, but no, it just popped out or kind of broke, as you can see here. But again, you can kind of fit it back in, and you can kind of look at it like it's a battle damage thing, and you can kind of go that way. Now, the issue that I have with this Playmates one is that this thing has like no articulation. So the head itself does not move, the mouth opens up, but the head itself does not turn, does not do anything. And again, from the arm itself, it can go out like that, and that just keeps popping off, so that's annoying. So it can go out like that, but this arm here does not move at all. The claw does not move at all. So it can go up and down and out. That's about it. But the wrist swivel, there's no wrist swivel at all with this thing. And same thing with the leg. The leg can go up and down and out and in. And then there's at least a little bit of a single jointed knee bend. So there's more articulation in the legs than it is in the arms. And again, that's just problematic. And again, the fact that the head doesn't move is just very disappointing. So yeah, so that's that. We're not going to really talk about that anymore. Again, was a comparison video, but that thing is just lackluster. Like Playmates, get that out of here. Like this thing is garbage. All right, so back to MechaGodzilla. All right, so again, pistons aside, look aside, this thing again, it feels like a premium product. You can take a look at it here. I'm going to bring my camera up just a smidgen so we can get a close-up of some of the details here. All right, so yeah, so I want to get a close-up because again, I want you guys to see the intricate details that they put into this. Now, this thing does have some features, and we'll talk about that, but right now, I just want to kind of get the look out of the way. So as far as like silver, we have the only red that we have is in the eyes, as you can see here on the eyes, and on the dorsal plates. So the red on the dorsal plates, as you can see here, like so. Okay. Now let's talk about articulation. So as I said before, this thing is, you have to be careful with it because it feels like a premium product, but it also feels like it could break at any moment. So that is very, very weird to me. So I don't want to mess with this as much as I should. So we have a little bit of movement in the arms here, in the biceps, the elbows do have movement as well. It's very stiff, but it does move. It can rotate up like this. So you do have full rotation. The tail is just like the other S.H.MonsterArts figures. The tail is movable on its own. It does have some limitations. You won't be able to kind of do the thing where it attacks from the front, but you can still whip its tail. Again, the leg is on these pistons, and you're supposed to be very careful with it. We have some toe hinge, but again, with this these pistons, it just makes things very difficult. Now the head does have movement as well. You can go, you can look down all the way. You can look up about this far before it has any issues. The mouth opens up. Things like that. Okay. So you can still get it in some pretty decent photos, and I'll bring this into just so you guys can take a look at it, so you can kind of see some of the photos and some of the things and positions that it can get into. So it looks really cool. It really does. Now, it also comes with a few gimmicks, and that's kind of where we're gonna go next, and then we'll go into the nitty gritty and talk about my dislikes. 1 second. All right, so let's talk about these gimmicks. All right, so again, we've taken a look at it. We've taken a look at the movement. This thing actually only comes with 2 gimmicks, which is very, very disappointing. It comes with the open hands, and then it comes with a pair of closed hands, as you can see here. And the closed hands, they can come off. You can pop these out, and they can go back in. So if you want to kind of have like an open motif, you can do that, or you can have it like battle damage, however you want to look at it, but those come in like so. And then he has missile gimmicks. So on his chest, these missile pods do roll down. So you would just, luckily I have long fingernails at this point, and you can just kind of pull those down, and you can kind of show the rockets. And again, to me, that we'll talk about that in a second. And then on the side here, you have another compartment that can pop open. Just 1 second. It's a little difficult. You just got to kind of get your finger in there, and bam. So you have some shoulder rockets on the side here as well. Let me see if I can get it to focus. Yeah. So you have the shoulder rockets on the left and right, and then you have the rockets here in the middle And then the same thing will be on this side, as you can see here, like that. Okay, and that's it. That's the only gimmick this thing has, and that's it. It's very imposing. Again, I'll show the other S.H. Monster Arts that I have in this line, but now I want to talk about what I don't like. And here's the deal. So for this price point, there's no reason why we could not have extras with this. And I think I mentioned this as well in my review for the the second Godzilla that they released, where he didn't even come with atomic breath. It literally was just Godzilla with painted dorsal fins and an extra set of hands, and that was it. That's all they gave you, and they just basically charged a super premium price for such a basic figure. Whereas the first one that came out, they actually gave the figure, even though his dorsal plates weren't painted, he actually came with atomic breath at the very least. So again, to me, that's where these problems start. So here are my gripes. It's very easy to charge $150 for a figure like this, but if you add in some of the effects, you can make people happy. I think about the we'll talk about that in a second. Let me just stay focused. So here is some of the other gripes that I have just on the base of the looks. We'll talk about the accessories that they could have added, but well, let's stick to the accuracy to the movie. So here's the other thing that makes me very upset about this. Again, $150. Again, I know this is mostly because it's a die-cast figure. I would have much rather them do plastic, and this would have been cheaper than to do die-cast metal and them just cut corners. Because here's the issue. In the movie, the reason why MechaGodzilla looks so imposing is because of all the red that he has. It kind of red just gives this hint of anger, of just, destruction. And in the movie, he has red throughout his body. And what I mean by that is that all these joints and things move. Like his central core is here in the middle. And whenever he's using his atomic breath, whenever he's using his, he's moving around, there is red throughout the rib cage, throughout the legs and tails. It's like a moving machine. And even in the mouth, there is like a circle here where it's always pulsating red, even when he's not using his atomic breath. And I just felt like S.H. Monster Arts dropped the ball on this. Like, it's basically like they said, hey, let's slap on some die-cast metal, let's paint it gunmetal gray, give it some red in the eyes and on the dorsal plates, and call it a day. And either they didn't have like the product stills from like the final version, and it just said run with it. But to me, I'm like, again, go back and watch the movie and go back and watch that fight. You can see that there's red throughout this entire thing during the fight. And it's not like when he's only using his atomic breath. As he's fighting, there is red throughout. And it would have been amazing if they could have replicated that to give this thing a little bit more pizzazz, because right now it looks plain. I mean, it looks amazing, but it also just looks plain when you compare that price you pay for it. That's just a base bottom line. Like, nothing you can say will change that. Now, also, if they didn't want to do that with the paint, at the very least, they could have given us more accessories. And what I mean by that is to give us just closed hands when you could have easily just made these hands open and close on their own is stupid. Why would you do that? You could have easily put joints in here and made them open and close, and then you could have included like a fire breath. Like, even the Playmates one at least comes with some sort of like fire breath. And again, maybe you can probably use it in here, close his mouth or something like that. And you can kind of use the effect piece here, but it's not the same. It really isn't. So again, yeah, you can use it, but it's just not the same. And the fact that a $10 or $15 toy can come with an effect piece and battle damage, and then this $150 piece has nothing other than a little flip down. And speaking of this flip down, why couldn't you guys just give it something where you could actually see like little rocket pieces coming down when you actually come out? So like, how hard is it to add like little tiny tips that can come down that show rockets getting ready to come out? Or if you wanted to really be kind of cool, you could have had a removable plate where you can pull this out and attach a piece where it shows rockets coming out. And what I mean by that is and again, this is a very big comparison, but like this is an effect piece from like a Goliath, but this could have easily been taken out and put in here to kind of simulate like rockets coming out of the body, and you could have just included that in here. This is a premium product, and you guys could have added that. Same thing with the rockets here on the side. You know, give us a piece where you can just pop it in and show that there's an effect piece coming out. You guys have done that with Gagan, and that's with Gigan, or however you pronounce it. Like where you give him these effects. And again, I imagine that maybe they'll come out later on down the line, and they'll do that and try to bring this out again, and then just kind of give us a better version so they can milk it. But honestly, I don't know if I would want to buy it then, because I'd be upset if I, pay $150 for this with a base of nothing in it, and then you bring out another one that actually fixes all these issues. So it's just a little bit of an annoyance. And the other thing they could have done is during the fight, he has these like plasma fist attacks. How hard is it to kind of, again, if you want to give us a secondary set of hands, you could have easily made these hands open and close, and these secondary fists, you could have put like a plasma effect around the fist. So kind of show like when he's punching Kong or Godzilla with that plasma attack, you could have just kind of put like a plasma effect around that, and it would have made people happy. Like to me, like watching that fight and just kind of seeing how they could have done so much better is just very upsetting to kind of see how they did this. And then finally, they also had like the rocket. He also had like rocket boosters on his back to kind of help him propulse. And again, we could have easily have gotten something like that. You could have attached on to kind of do that. So, those are just suggestions. So that's it for the base review. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the other figures, and we'll go ahead and wrap this up. All right, so here we are with final thoughts and size comparisons. So. Just for recap, here is the Playmates MechaGodzilla with his battle damage, aka broken hand, and his broken chest. Honestly, don't buy this. I mean, if this is all you can find, I mean, go for it. It's only worth it if you want the blast effect, and the blast effect could have been better in all honesty. So. Yeah, but yeah, this thing is no good. It's garbage. I mean, it could have been better if they at least matched the color, but to just make this like puce, like brown, I don't even know what color this is, and then give this thing like absolutely no articulation is just ridiculous. That's horrible. But let's go ahead and bring in the other members of this gang. So here we have the S.H.MonsterArts Kong. And again, as you can see here, he is giving me issues standing up right now. Okay, sorry about that. So here we have Kong standing next to MechaGodzilla. As you can see here, MechaGodzilla is towering over Kong as he should. Again, that's where I will give this S.H.MonsterArts credit. They definitely nailed it on the size. As you can see here, we'll turn them to the side, and you can kind of see just how big this thing is in comparison to Kong. So that I do love is the size. The size is amazing. I wish I could have put in my King Ghidorah, but I ended up selling it. So yeah, so that's Kong. Then I'll bring in the King of Monsters himself, Godzilla. As you can see here, he is also bigger than Godzilla, as he should be. And then you can turn them to the side, and you can kind of see what they look like from the side of each other. Let me bring it over a little bit more. There you go. So again, if we're talking about size-wise, this thing is awesome. Looks good. And finally, we'll bring in Gigan. And again, like to me, this is the pinnacle of what S.H.MonsterArts should be. Like hands down, this is the best Godzilla style figure that I've ever owned. Like this thing has so many accessories. This thing is amazing. The paint, the articulation, and again, the accessories and attention to detail on this thing is absolutely incredible. Like if you guys don't have that, this Gigan, then I mean you're missing out. Like this thing is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And again, why not? I'll bring in my Cygor from Todd McFarlane. And you guys can kind of see how we can just call this Godzilla on steroids. How he sizes up against MechaGodzilla. That'd be an awesome fight, right? Bringing Cygor into the battle. Who you guys got your money on? Cygor or MechaGodzilla? That's awesome. I mean, Tom McFarlane, man, he's been killing it, especially with the price. Like, he's giving you guys, like, premium figures at, like, a still lot, not like an absorbent amount of money. All right, so again, final thoughts. Should you buy this? And again, honestly, for the $150 price point, if I had to do it over, would I buy this again? Probably not. Like, of course, I have to have it because this is the premium MechaGodzilla that you can find on the market. There really isn't anything else out there that can compare to this that I know of. So this is kind of like, if you want a MechaGodzilla in your collection, you kind of have to buy it, unless you want to get like kind of one of the old school versions. And even they are very expensive. But as far as like the movie version goes, this is kind of it. Again, that Playmates one that I showed you guys, that one is not worth it. Like, it doesn't really compare if you try to put them up against the other guys. So it's almost like a catch-22. Like, again, I have a tough time trying to support this because of the mistakes they made and the little details that they could have added to make it better. But again, we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because we kind of, if you are a completionist when it comes to this movie line, you kind of need it. So again, if I had to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to have to give this a 6 out of 10. Again, I hate being so harsh, but again, when you actually watch the movie and you look at the die cast and you look at everything else, like, and again, especially with the issue with the broken piston, it's just very hard to give them a higher praise. But again, and also the other little tiny thing that makes me mad, like in the movie, his tail can spin around and like a spin attack. His tail doesn't even move. I mean, it can move, but the tail itself doesn't even spin. So again, the attention to detail that we've been looking for is just not there. So yeah, that was my review for MechaGodzilla. Let me know what you guys think. Comment in the section below. Thumbs up the video. This is Showing Off the King, and I'll see you guys next time.